Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily Grace, and in this video, I'm so excited to share how you can stay connected to your feminine energy while working and being in your masculine energy. This is a question that has come up a lot in the last few weeks with my clients and even myself. I was asking, how have I been able to do this and stay really in my feminine while I do so many different things in my work and my business? And I didn't always used to be this way. So I was really reflecting on how I've been able to do that and to share with you so you can make sure that you're connected to your feminine and not going into burnout, overworking, because trust me, no one wants to do that. We want to be thriving and not in survival mode. And I really see that as being so harmful to feminine energy. So, first off, I would say understand your cycle and start to track it. Now, I am not perfect at this, but I have a general awareness, and it's really connecting to your body and understanding, okay, what does my body need during this time, during this phase? Because as women, we are operating on a 30-day cycle, and men are operating on a 24-hour cycle. So we don't have this steady stream of energy that's just going on over 24 hours. No, it's always fluctuating, right? And so, what you want to do is become aware of each phase in your cycle and optimize for that. And for me and a lot of my friends, it's looked like taking things really slow on the first day of our period. And maybe that doesn't mean canceling everything, but doing less extroverted tasks, less people facing tasks, and maybe more creative ones that you can do on your own. I find that I get a lot of inspiration and insights, intuitive hits during that time. So that works best. But just overly social, extroverted tasks are not going to feel great on that day where you have the lowest energy. Maybe you have PMS symptoms. So that's one shift that you can already make. And then, yeah, using the time after that, which is really known as like your spring phase, to be more focused on launching new projects and creating, meeting with people. And then you'll notice that that will come after the winter, which is your menstrual cycle, right? Your period. And notice that it will be like the seasons. There'll be this rise of energy. Okay, you're aware that you're losing it, so like put in more time and rest and like less strenuous workouts, right? And then just like giving your body what it needs instead of trying to make your body just be at 100 for 30 days a month. It's not working like that. And that shift alone has really helped me to honor my body, its cycles, and set up boundaries, which is my next point. You want to create a really healthy masculine structure, which can be in the form of boundaries, so that your feminine energy can feel really safe to come out and play and to rest and have like this container. So it's almost like feminine energy is represented by water, and you put it in a cup, it's able to like stand and take form. But without the cup, it's just like flying everywhere, it's just dripping. And I found, and for a lot of people that I know, that once we started healing our feminine energy, it was just masculine energy out the door and no structure, like kind of rejecting that. But that also wasn't good because there was no direction. Things weren't getting done. It's just, this wavy pool and just flowing, and that doesn't work. And so we really need both energies. And actually, having a masculine structure, healing your relationship to the masculine, which will be my next point, is going to help your feminine energy feel like, okay, I can exist here and then I know I have time and space. So for me, that's really around having boundaries on my energy. I don't do any work after 5 p.m. and I just notice like that's when my energy starts dropping off, and I don't have access to as much of that like creative flow. And by working and ignoring that, I'm actually making things worse. I'm not creating from a full place. And then that's when the burnout happens. So by doing this, you're going to find that the quality of your work is going to increase, and approaching your work with a depth first mentality will help you to get a lot of clarity around what it is you're creating. We're so conditioned to jump right into the strategy, the to do lists, the structure. But I found when I let the inspiration unfold and take place a bit, and really, really let the feminine energy define what direction the project is going to take, that it's felt much more well thought out and intentional versus like skipping the important step of like the depth of dropping into the idea versus just right away like skipping to the actions, the masculine steps. So my next point would be to heal your relationship with masculine, whatever that represents to you. I really had to heal my relationship with my dad in order for this to happen, because I didn't have this example of healthy masculine energy. So I wanted nothing to do with it. I wanted to stay in my feminine and not have any structure, just kind of let everything be flowing and not secure, not like having a direction. And I really had to come to terms with that relationship and see that wasn't the whole story, and forgive him and feel really, really good about our relationship, even though he's past that. It was what he could do at the time. It's not representing what I see as like healthy masculine energy. And it can also be just really healing your relationship with the actual masculine energy of like tasks, to do lists, and approaching these with a different energy and mindset of like, okay, this is fun. Like, I'm enjoying this. I have found that shift in the last 4 or 5 years has been everything, because when you approach your tasks in that way, you'll find that they give you energy versus draining you. If you see tasks and work as draining, as taking away your energy, as, yeah, honestly, as work, I really, really am not trying to use that word anymore. Um, not sure what else to use instead, but it will give you that. So I view it as like, wow, I love having masculine structure. I feel so much better to me now to know, okay, this is the plan. They can be flexible. The feminine can make it flexible, but there's like a container, there's a direction, there's safety to rest back into. And that was a huge shift I made in my business, where I planned the year out ahead of time with a calendar and a spreadsheet. And I made sure that I had systems so I wasn't doing everything manually. So, how can you create this kind of structure and rewrite your relationship with it in your own work, in your own career? And that is going to help your feminine just be really able to come out. And that's the thing, if you don't have the structure, the feminine might not want to, might not feel safe to be really expressed. This sounds counterintuitive, but prioritize activities, hobbies, relationships that are outside of work, because this is what is represented by the feminine. So when you are in your healthy feminine energy, you have a healthy level of connection, support, and creativity. And for me, I love cooking and baking. So I make time for that. I love creative hobbies. And I make sure now to have just connections with friends and family, just online and in person throughout my week. Whereas when I was operating in this really unhealthy masculine energy, it was like I had to do all the work, all my work tasks, all that prioritized first. And then I could see my family or talk to my friends and do my hobbies. And it almost was like, okay, that's for the weekend. And what that did obviously was just create more of an opportunity to overwork. And it didn't even give me great results in my work, honestly, because I was so depleted by not having that connective energy, that nurturing, that joy, that aliveness, that pleasure to draw on. So that's almost like what you should be prioritizing, is these these areas where your feminine can really express itself. So building that into your schedule will automatically force you to stop working at a certain point, and just be fully connected to this energy. And that can also look like self-care, and prioritizing your spiritual practice, your physical movement practice, and your emotional support in any way that looks like. And wow, your work is going to have such a higher level of quality and output, even level of output, with less time that you're putting in, because you have this energy bank that you're drawing from, and it's just like flowing into everything. So that would be my last tip, is to really just focus on the hobbies and activities and relationships in your life that are life giving to you, and prioritize these over work. And I think that this is so helpful to understand that staying in your feminine energy does not mean that you give up your ambitions. I think I see a lot of women think that they have to then just give up having a career or having a business because they're not going to be in their feminine. I think that's really destructive, and that's never been how I felt. I've always, my whole life, have been really ambitious. And maybe, you've been doing this in a very masculine way, but you can totally be so ambitious and successful as a woman. And just think of all these examples that we have right now in society of women that are really successful and thriving and still really in their feminine magnetic energy. And it's totally possible. And I actually think that it's the key is being really in your healthy feminine energy, because you're going to get so burnt out if you are not managing this wisely. And lastly, I will say feminine energy is inherently magnetic, it's an attractor. And once I understood this, I realized I could just impact so much more change and possibilities through my work by kind of embodying that energy and using that instead of focusing on what can I do, how can I, yeah, just like what are the actions I can take, and it's less about that. It's like who can I be and how can that really influence what I do. And you'll find that you won't have to do as much. Honestly, the feminine's power is in her being. So I hope this was helpful for you, and I'd love to hear what aspect really resonated with you, what you've seen in your own life that's been kind of blocking being in your feminine while also being really successful and ambitious and driven and managing your career that way. Let me know in the comments, and let me know what other videos you would like to see. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video.